Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So today I thought I'd just do a short little video showing the weak links of the Summit VXL. And this will apply to your Revo VXL and pretty much any of the rest of them that are based on this chassis and drivetrain setup and in this scale size. I don't know much about the 110 scale brushless e-Revo. But the 1/16 scale would be the same sort of dealie as this for the weak links. Now, some people do complain about the servos in these, the 2080s. I technically haven't had any problems other than, yes, I did strip one, but it was from probably too many of these going on, and that would kill just about any plastic geared servo. So it may even damage some metal gear ones, depending on the type of gear that they have for the metal. But anyway, so I really don't count the 2080 as a weak link, but what I do count it as is you really should have the two servos for best possible alignment for your steering and your steering trim setting, because this one side is much more play in it than the other because it only comes with the servo on the one side. So I would definitely recommend putting in the two servos. Now, as far as the actual weak links that I consider to be bad weak links, rear differential is going to be a problem. Shimmed or not, I think it's going to be a weak link because all of your torque goes right to the rear. Even though your transmission is up near the front of the truck, all the torque seems to be going always to the rear, and you can tell that because of the way it squats too, right? So part of that weak link is also going to be that section of the drive shaft, because it's a two-piece drive shaft. Now my front diff, I checked it out today when I changed all my axle carriers, and it's still in perfect condition. So, you know, definitely that does show and prove that yes, all of your torque does go to the rear, and of course anything in the rear is going to take the most hits, including your rear axle carriers are going to wear out much quicker because of all that torque. Now, I have only had about maybe 24 runs on this thing since I got it new. And I haven't had it that long, as a lot of you know if you've been following my videos. And so anyway, this end of the drive shaft in here is getting chewed up quite a bit. So I figured, you know what, I'm changing the diff, I might as well change this. And besides, it's already starting to split right in here anyhow, so I might as well change it. And then I don't have to worry about it for quite a while. So anyways, putting that aside, our next set of weak links, of course, are going to be your steering rods, which these, you can tell your steering rods because they're going to have the metal screw-ins. Okay, these are to go to the inside of the truck, and of course your outsides to your axle carriers. And these things are like pathetic with these pieces of plastic inside. They pop out way too easy. This one is actually to the point where it doesn't matter, it'll just fall right through. And of course I got another one here that's the same dealie. The center plastic piece is so weak and cheap that it's just going to fall right through. So that's going to create a lot of excessive play really quick too. These ones here at the back, these are your stabilizer links for your rear end to stop your rear end from being able to turn, because it can freely turn if you undo these links. Now my main push rods for my suspension, they're fine actually. I'm actually quite surprised they're fine and they're doing well. So they're not taking on as much damage or pressure stress as these links do, and your steering. So front and rears, they're still fine, but I wouldn't count them out too easily. I am going to be getting some metal upgrade kits, one of which is going to be for all of the rods, because I want adjustability too, but also it ups the quality, helps me fine tune, you know, the angles of my wheels, and my toe setup will be much more precise, and so on. Axle carriers are definitely going to have to go to metal upgrade. These things are pathetic. I mean, really, I think I got one here that's really super bad. Yeah, this one here. Take a look at that. Now this is only about 24 runs, and it's already doing that sort of stuff. You know, like that's terrible. It's ready to fly apart. And of course, two of them are from the rear, and they're the worst ones. Also, my rear bearings are shot. You know, the inner ones are for sure. The outer ones, they're kind of, yeah. Front ones are actually not too bad still, so I'm going to keep them for emergency spares. You know, nothing wrong with that. Now a brand new axle carrier looks like this. Of course, looks the same, except look, doesn't matter which way I do it, it'll stop wherever I want it to. It's nice and stiff the way it should be. So no in and out play at all. Now how long it's going to stay like that, I guess we'll find out, because I'm not going to run any series batteries in this for a while. I've only run series connection with the two NIMs, maybe, I don't know, half a dozen times. But otherwise it's been, you know, the two NIMs in there, but in parallel hookup, you know, and I've done a couple runs with just one NIM in the truck. And so we're going to see. Now, the other weak link, of course, is going to be, and that mighty old rear end is your diff, right? So that's something that I just put in a factory replacement one and it's fine. So it's doing well. The other thing I did to avoid further rear diff damage was I backed off my slipper clutch a few turns. So now when I floor it on takeoff, I'm not going to be pulling papa wheelies. You're going to hear that ever-loving screeching sound, and it's going to take off. So it's going to slip, and it's going to allow so that I'd rather wear into the slipper pads, which are really thick in this truck, so they're going to last a long time. But I'd rather rip into those than to rip my rear diff out again anytime soon. Now I found it kind of interesting too about how loose I actually have it. I do have to tighten it a little bit. I was out playing earlier after I set everything back up, and I hit some tall grass, like I'm talking tall grass in the ditch, and I got kind of caught on an angle and I tried to hit the throttle, and the car is like, you know, trying to move and it can't, and it's like, well, that's a little too loose. We're going to tighten that up a little bit. So I'm going to tighten it up at least a turn anyways to give it a little bit more torque into it, you know. But most of what I do with this thing is a lot of high-speed stuff, jumping off ramps, you know, that sort of thing. And really for that, I'd rather, you know, get that speed going and not, you know, pop a wheelie, spin tires and go all over the place, you know, then try to straighten it up and get to the ramp. So, you know, I wanted to run it a little looser anyhow, and it should save my rear diff that I won't have to do it for hopefully a long time. I also made sure I put some good diff oil in there as well, and nice and thick stuff, so that should help too. But other than that, I mean, the drive shafts, inner outer drive shafts, these things are really good on this truck. They're very heavy duty. You know, even being for plastic, they take a lot. You know, I've actually snapped the little pin off of one, and I actually shredded one right out of its thing. So I've had to replace two rears already. No big deal, and I think it was two rears. It was either a rear and a front or two rears, but anyways, I've had to do two, and so that's not bad. That's decent for the amount of punishment I put this thing through. I've had no issues with my radio since, you know, Traxxas lengthened my antenna tube, so for the wire, and I've had absolutely no motor and ESC issues either. Since that was resolved because of the battery issue. So if you're running NIM packs in this thing and they start to go bad, you're going to see some weird stuff like motor cogging and stuff. That's going to be more than likely going to be a NIM pack. Put a good battery in there that you know is good, and if it works fine, then you definitely know it's the battery that's the issue. So I learned a few things from, you know, just having Traxxas go over this machine when I did send it in. So I've learned, you know, about these machines. Yes, you need a long tube, and yes, you got to make sure your batteries are perfect, or you're going to get weird things happening, you know, and so on. So there's a few things I learned. It was a new truck for me, and stuff I didn't know about, you know, and how things are affected. And hey, now I know, and I give you guys the information, right? So, but otherwise, she's a really good truck, you know. I really love this truck a lot. It's a lot of fun, but it does have some weak links that need some major upgrading. Diffs I wouldn't even worry about. Just keep using the factory ones. They're fine. You know, axle carriers, upgrade to metal. Maybe even better bearings would be a good idea. And of course your support links, steering links, and your links for your suspension, those need to go to metal. Just because of quality purposes and, you know, less wear and tear. Because even though these little plastic black guys are wearing out, it's also wearing at the hole in the link too. And you want to try finding these things. I haven't been able to find just the centers anywhere. Otherwise I just put new centers in and hopefully that'd be the end of it, except that I found out that they're also wearing the holes in too, so that's definitely weak in that sense. But the rest of the truck I have no qualms about. I think it's great. It's awesome. So if you have any questions or whatever, you know, as usual, feel free, and I'll do the best I can to answer them. And we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.